Audrey, why do you think the post office needs saving?
There are a multitude of reasons why the post office is a critical service to all of us. From small businesses that utilize it to run their services and deliver their goods, from veterans and other folks who get their medications delivered by mail, from those of us who still get paper bills and important notices in the mail, and just in general as a way to communicate and stay connected with each other, as well as the jobs of the letter carriers and the post office workers. These are good, important union jobs that have benefits and insurance, and we should do as much as we can to preserve those jobs.
Well, why do you think they're threatened?
They're threatened due to the lack of funding that they've been able to receive in terms of the emergencies created by COVID. They also have unfortunately been targeted for years and years and years in terms of goals of privatization, which would really make a big dent in our access as citizens to these services. In particular, a bill that was passed many years ago that requires them to pre-fund their pensions for 50 years in advance, which is ludicrous, as no other structure or service is required to do something of that sort. And it should also be noted the House has passed a bill over 200 days ago to undo some of that, and it is sitting on the desk of the Senate Majority Leader for the past 200 days.
And what are you calling on the public to do?
There's a variety of ways for the public to get involved. Network with your friends and come join us to be out in public and get other people aware and involved. Call and email your representatives daily so that they have a daily reminder. This is an important, critical service you want preserved in your community. And to vote. Register to vote. Make sure your friends are registered to vote. Find out about all the rules in your area, because we are in an important time where it's important to understand your access to voting, whether it's a mail-in ballot, an absentee ballot, voting early in person if your state offers that, or just voting that day with a plan to stay safe.
I'm Jim Pandaro. I live in West Haven. I've been an activist ever since the early 60s, union organizer, business agent, and Veterans for Peace, Vietnam Veterans Against the War, and Greater New Haven Peace Council. So just to follow up on what my good friend Audrey said, is that the post office was never intended to be a profit-making organization. It was set up in the early days of our republic as a service by the government to the people of the United States. And that's the way it was intended to be. It is not a business. This is a service by the government. And today, the post office employs roughly about 20% of its employees are veterans. When veterans come out of the service, it's hard to get a job, even though corporate America has promised them first dibs. There's not enough jobs to accommodate all the veterans coming back from our myriad of wars all around the globe. According to the New York Times, that the U.S. is involved in over 14 different conflicts around the world. And there's no jobs, enough jobs to accommodate not only veterans, but our own civilian right here in the States.
Who is the Joy? You know, people know who Trump is, but they may not know who the Joy is.
The Joy is a millionaire corporatist who's contributed at least $2 million to the Trump campaign. Never was in the Postal Service at all, like no experience, much like many of Trump's appointees. DeVoe in education, and so many others have no experience, and he's put them in as a political reward. For
what does DeJoy want to do to the post office?
DeJoy wants to make it hard for the mail to be delivered on time, especially during this election year. Trump has said that if a lot of people get the vote, Republicans would never win an election. So they're going to try every avenue of approach to disenfranchise millions of voters, only have a few voting places around the country, long lines, and they're trying to hinder absentee ballot. And it's worked. This absentee ballot, voting by mail, has worked in many states for many years. And Colorado, Utah, to name a couple that come to my mind. But anyway, DeJoy wants to really starve and make it difficult for the mail to be processed. He's taken away automatic sorting machines that sort tens of thousands of mail a day. He's removed post office boxes on the street. So we have to band together and make sure that our Attorney General and Weissowitz was, what was she before?
Secretary of State, I think.
Secretary of State, yeah, that they get and make sure that we all get an application to get an absentee ballot here in Connecticut. This should be a universal thing. We've had problems since Gore and Bush back in 2000. We've had problems in 2016. I mean, when is this problem going to get fixed? When is Congress going to get off its stuff and clean up their act and get things written in stone? We shouldn't have to do this. We're the laughing stock of the world. So we can't privatize the post office. As I said, it's a service that Benjamin Franklin, who was the first Postmaster General back when, said that this is a service by the government to the people of the United States. So like I said before, the post office employs about roughly 110,000 veterans, 20% of its workforce.
Another concern in regards to the current appointed Postmaster General, who is responsible for a lot of the catastrophe we're experiencing in regards to mail delivery, is his affiliations and contracts and history with privatized shipping companies. He has contracts with Amazon. He has hundreds of millions of dollars in contracts from a logistics shipping company, XPO. Many of these are not clear on his disclosures that he is required to have completed prior to his appointment to the position that he's currently in. And he still, at this point in time, while serving as our Postmaster General, holds contracts, stock investments, and other ways to profit off of private shipping. So it's very concerning that he is in a lead role in the Postal Service Agency, which he stands to benefit from the complete destruction of, forcing all of that mail to be then shipped privately in services and corporations he holds current investments in.
Thank you very much.